Long Island changes completely during hurricane evacuations. The parkways empty, gas stations overflow, emergency broadcasts repeat continuously through car radios while thousands of people attempt leaving the barrier islands before the bridges close. And once the weather finally arrives, entire sections of the coastline begin feeling isolated from the mainland entirely, especially near Robert Moses Causeway. According to longtime emergency workers and local residents, major storms create a strange psychological effect across the South Shore, because once evacuation orders begin, people know there's eventually a point where leaving simply stops being possible. The bridges close, the ferries stop, and anyone still remaining on the island roads becomes trapped waiting for the storm to pass. For years, disturbing rumors connected to emergency communications near Robert Moses Causeway, presented here in fictionalized form inspired by Long Island storm folklore and infrastructure history, circulated quietly among volunteer responders, highway workers, and former radio operators. Stories involving abandoned evacuation routes, strange emergency transmissions, and patrol units allegedly responding to calls from sections of the parkway officially closed decades earlier. Most people dismissed the rumors immediately. But during Hurricane Elias in September of 2021, a late-night evacuation operation reportedly became connected to one of the strangest emergency communication incidents ever whispered about anywhere on Long Island. A story involving a missing highway patrol unit, distorted radio transmissions, and repeated broadcasts allegedly coming from a section of Robert Moses Causeway that no longer appeared on modern emergency response maps anymore. Tonight's file is known as the Robert Moses Emergency Frequency. According to second-hand accounts later shared online, Hurricane Elias allegedly approached Long Island rapidly during the second week of September 2021. Forecast models reportedly warned of *severe storm surge, *coastal flooding, *power outages, and possible bridge shutdowns throughout portions of the South Shore. At first, the evacuation response reportedly appeared routine: emergency alerts, traffic control, police checkpoints, Department of Transportation crews monitoring flood conditions near the barrier islands. According to archived discussions connected to the story, several emergency staging areas allegedly became concentrated near Robert Moses Causeway due to worsening conditions around Fire Island and Jones Beach. Then approximately 11:47 that evening, another detail reportedly changed the atmosphere entirely. According to one anonymous account later posted online, emergency radio operators allegedly began receiving repeated transmissions on a secondary highway response channel, typically reserved only for storm coordination units. At first, the broadcasts reportedly appeared ordinary: flood updates, road closures, visibility warnings, but according to archived discussions connected to the incident, another realization immediately followed. One transmission allegedly originated from a highway patrol unit identifier no longer active within the county emergency system anymore. Still, according to the story, operators initially assumed outdated equipment accidentally transmitted archived frequencies during the worsening storm interference. Then another transmission reportedly came through moments later. According to listeners who later discussed fragments of the recordings online, the voice allegedly says, "Unit 7 requesting immediate assistance near South Span Access Road." Several seconds reportedly pass afterward, then static. At first, dispatchers reportedly assumed the transmission referred to one of the lower maintenance sections connected to Robert Moses Causeway. But according to the account, another unsettling detail immediately complicated the situation. No active roadway officially existed under the designation South Span Access Road anywhere in the modern emergency maps being used during the evacuation. Still, according to the story, one supervisor allegedly contacted older highway personnel familiar with historical roadway lay notes near the causeway. Then another disturbing detail reportedly emerged. According to archived discussions connected to the incident, an older maintenance employee allegedly recognized the location name immediately. The road reportedly connected to a former service route near the original causeway construction staging area decades earlier. One former worker later claimed portions of the road allegedly became inaccessible following major storm damage during the late 1970s. Still, according to the story, the emergency transmissions reportedly continued. At first, the broadcasts allegedly sounded fragmented beneath heavy static interference caused by worsening weather conditions. Then, according to listeners who later discussed portions of the audio online, another sentence allegedly became understandable. The voice reportedly says, "The water already crossed the lower road." Several seconds reportedly pass afterward. Then another voice quietly responds somewhere beneath the interference. "Unit 7, evacuate immediately." At first, dispatchers reportedly assumed storm distortion, simply crossed multiple emergency channels together accidentally. But according to one anonymous account later posted online, another unsettling detail gradually spread among portions of the response teams. The voices allegedly sounded older somehow, not distorted digitally, analog, as if recorded through older highway radios. Still, according to the story, another event allegedly changed the situation significantly shortly after midnight. According to second-hand accounts later shared online, one highway maintenance crew allegedly reported seeing emergency lights flashing briefly near a restricted lower service section beneath the causeway during heavy rain conditions. At first, the workers reportedly assumed another response vehicle became stranded during the flooding, but according to archived discussions connected to the incident, another realization immediately followed. No active units reportedly appeared assigned anywhere near the lower service roads at that time. Still, according to the story, 2 emergency workers allegedly moved toward the location while documenting flood conditions. Then another disturbing detail reportedly emerged. According to one anonymous account later shared online, the workers allegedly discovered tire tracks leading through standing water toward an older barricaded roadway section beneath the bridge approach. At first, they reportedly assumed another county vehicle bypassed the closure barriers illegally during the storm confusion. Then, according to the account, another unsettling detail immediately followed. The tracks reportedly stopped abruptly near the flooded roadway edge. No turnaround marks, no continuation, nothing. Still, according to the story, another transmission allegedly comes through moments later over the emergency frequency. According to listeners who later discussed fragments of the recording online, the voice reportedly says, "We can still see headlights farther down the road." Then static. At first, the workers reportedly believed another stranded driver somehow remained trapped beyond the flood zone. Still, according to the account, they allegedly continued searching portions of the lower roadway using portable floodlights. Then, another disturbing detail reportedly becomes visible. According to archived discussions connected to the incident, faint emergency lights allegedly appeared intermittently through the rain farther down the flooded access road beyond the barricades, red and blue, flashing slowly through the storm. At first, the workers reportedly assumed another police vehicle remained partially submerged beyond visibility range, but according to one anonymous commenter later discussing the incident online, another realization allegedly followed almost immediately afterward. The emergency lights reportedly appeared inconsistent with modern patrol vehicles used during the evacuation. Still, according to the story, one worker allegedly continued documenting the scene using a handheld department camera. Then approximately 12:20, 6 in the morning, another event reportedly changed everything. According to second-hand accounts later shared online, the footage allegedly begins suffering severe distortion as the workers move farther along the flooded service road beneath the bridge. Static bursts, tracking interference, audio warping beneath the storm winds. Then, according to viewers who later discussed fragments of the recording online, another image allegedly becomes visible briefly through the distortion. a patrol vehicle, partially submerged, parked near the flooded roadway farther ahead. At first, most viewers reportedly assumed the damaged footage simply captured an abandoned county vehicle from the ongoing evacuation response. But according to archived discussions connected to the incident, another detail allegedly immediately stood out. The patrol markings reportedly matched an older Suffolk County Highway its design no longer used for decades. Still, according to the story, another unsettling detail allegedly emerges moments later. According to listeners who later claimed to hear enhanced portions of the audio online, another sentence allegedly becomes understandable beneath the radio interference. The voice reportedly says, "The bridge closed before they made it back." Several seconds reportedly pass afterward. Then another voice quietly responds somewhere deeper beneath the static. "They're still waiting on the lower road." At first, most people later reviewing the footage reportedly assumed storm conditions and equipment interference caused the strange visual distortions. But according to archived discussions connected to the story, another detail allegedly complicated that explanation significantly. Historical records reportedly confirmed a severe coastal storm during the late 1970s, allegedly stranded multiple highway workers near temporary access sections beneath Robert Moses Causeway, after rapid flooding isolated portions of the lower construction routes overnight. No official fatalities connected to the incident were ever publicly confirmed. Still, according to the story, another unsettling event allegedly occurred several months later after portions of the emergency recordings reportedly leaked online through private radio archive groups. According to one anonymous account later posted online, several former emergency workers allegedly recognized Unit 7 immediately. The patrol designation reportedly belonged to a highway response vehicle removed from active service decades earlier following a storm-related disappearance during an evacuation operation near Robert Moses. Today, hurricane evacuations remain part of life along Long Island's South Shore every storm season. Most emergency broadcasts end without anything unusual happening beyond flooding and traffic chaos. But according to longtime responders familiar with these stories, certain sections of the causeway feel very different once the weather turns severe and the bridges begin shutting down after midnight, especially lower service roads hidden beneath newer infrastructure near the water, because according to the story surrounding the Robert Moses emergency frequency, some emergency transmissions allegedly connected to Long Island storms may never have stopped broadcasting the way officials assume they did. And according to several people connected to the incident, the most unsettling part of the mystery was never the unidentified patrol vehicle visible through the storm footage. It was the possibility that somewhere beneath Robert Moses Causeway during severe weather Unit 7 may still be attempting to radio for evacuation assistance from a roadway that officially disappeared decades ago.